Hello, this is White African, and this video will deal with Uhuru or genocide in South Africa. Now, please do keep in mind that this is only a short video clip and basically only the tip of the iceberg, but do feel free to go and investigate. As I have mentioned before, Uhuru is something that has been uncovered during the apartheid years and basically outlines a plan to bring about genocide in Africa, in South Africa, killing as many white people as possible in one well-orchestrated maneuver, with the death of Nelson Mandela as the trigger or the signal for the country to spring into action, if you would. What will happen is basically the main roads leaving the cities will be blocked, and this will be done with military precision, as was seen in Johannesburg not so long ago, where the centre of Johannesburg was blocked for a period of about 4 hours by taxis, where no traffic was able to enter or exit this area. This basically resembled a military exercise of some sorts. I'll get to that in a moment. This Uhuru is no different than the ethnic cleansing that we have witnessed in some countries around Africa. Uhuru goes by various different names, such as Night of the Long Knives, Operation Iron Eagle, Operation Vula, Operation White Cleanup, and so on. And now apparently the foundation for this plan was written in the Kremlin and bought from Russia some years ago. How much truth in this lies, I'm unsure at this stage. Unfortunately, I don't have any evidence to present in that regard, but the fact that this Uhuru actually does exist is in no doubt. For instance, an article published by the Star, South African newspaper, on the 28th of September in 2006, in which a highly placed government official is interviewed and mentions the Night of the Long Knives on various occasions. I mean, this is mentioned more than once. Also during a broadcast of 180 Degrees, which is a morning show on SABC2, broadcast between 8 and 9 in the mornings on South African television. The host interviews another highly placed government official who again mentions Uhuru on several occasions, indicating that Uhuru is still on track, quote unquote. I've also heard on some occasions, as I'm sure some of my fellow South Africans have heard, the words that, quote, when Mandela dies, we'll kill the whites like flies. There are many such examples, which indicates that there's definitely a certain part of the population which seems to be talking of or know of something called Uhuru. Now, firstly, for such a large synchronized event to take place, obviously a few things need to happen, because basically this is war. So I believe that not all black people would want to participate in such an event, but there are those who will freely partake in such a killing spree. Unfortunately, when you look at events of the past, it's obvious that during things like strikes and mass actions that have taken place, those who have refused to participate are threatened with their lives, and thousands have ended up paying for the price. One form of punishment was, for instance, the necklace or the tire, which I have mentioned on previous posts. So things are at the point of critical mass, whereby the masses have been indoctrinated to the point where they will participate in such an event, be it willing or unwillingly. It's basically kill or be killed by your own people. Secondly, you need to have an atmosphere of lawlessness, which, if you look at South African statistics, assaults in excess of 500,000, car thefts 100,000, murders. These are statistics for 2007, murders 22,000, reported rape cases 54,000, and so the list goes on and on and on. Total crimes in excess of 3.5 million. It seems that apart from the fact that the government stands to gain from millions of rands of taxpayers' money, from the private security companies that we, the average citizen, has to employ in order to have some form of security, as our police force at this stage is totally ineffective. They also stand to gain from this atmosphere of lawlessness, as there will be no one who can actually do anything once these events actually start. Thirdly, there needs to be some form of training. I mean, obviously you cannot successfully conduct such a precise event like this cage effect that we witnessed in Joburg with the taxis, which I mentioned earlier, without some form of military training. In the report, which is South Africa's Sunday newspaper, an article describing how 1,366 trainees incorrectly dropped off on the border of Mozambique en route for military training. Military training for what? Where's this war? When background checks were done on these chaps, they were found to be from ex-military divisions of old political parties from parties from the apartheid years, which I won't name right now. But these parties are currently still very active in our current democratic society. Now the question arises, is Mozambique the only country with camps for military training? Who knows? For all we know, there are camps within our own borders. So then another question arises, where does the money actually come from to fund this war? Well, feel free to look at statistics over the past few years where there have been a remarkable increase in bank robberies, and in fact now ATMs are being targeted and they are simply just blown up. This is very reminiscent of the apartheid years when such funding was needed to provide military training in order to overthrow the apartheid regime. When footage was reviewed of these heists, they were shown that these robbers participating in these ATM heists are seen stuffing notes into their pockets, and this is also an indication that these guys are not getting their cut of the cash, as they seem to skim it off the top. So where does this money go? I mean, black men blowing up ATMs but not getting a cut. Very strange. The bottom line is, I feel that a lot of black people, and again I want to emphasize this point, that it's not all black people, but a lot of them would want to get rid of the whites in South Africa through violent means. And this is very obvious through you can look at firstly you can look at the songs that they sing, like Umshiniwa, which Jacob Zuma recently sang in front of the media, which basically means bring back my machine gun. You can also look at the systematic indoctrination of the black masses to have a hate towards whites, by the means of the media and constant reminders of apartheid on television and so on. Also, you can look at the gruesome fashion in which whites are currently being murdered, whereby these perpetrators make it well known that they are taking revenge for apartheid. Another example is the fact that the white population has been systematically disarmed over the past few years, whereby our gun licenses have been revoked and our firearms being confiscated, thereby rendering the white population totally vulnerable. Yet no attempt is being made by the government to confiscate the thousands of AK-47s and pangas and machetes currently lying in our locations and being distributed to a certain part of the population. It seems that we are being disarmed and they are busy arming themselves. Also, something that you have to experience for yourself is the hate that we experience out in our streets as white people, where we are looked upon as being arrogant merely for being there in our own country. Because we are white, we are being classified as Europeans, and we don't belong in Africa because we are white. I'll be posting a few links up here you can feel free to go check out some of these links or do an investigation for yourself and make up your own mind.